All right, let's jump right into this explainer. You know that feeling when you're doing absolutely everything right? You're grinding, putting in the hours, doing the work, but you're just not breaking through. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating framework from the Abbas Research Group that shows us exactly what's happening behind the scenes in our minds. We're starting with a deeply frustrating, universal problem. It's that feeling of hitting invisible mental walls. You've set the goals, you've planned it all out, you're putting in maximum effort, but those goals just still feel completely out of reach. It is so demoralizing to feel like your output just doesn't match your input. But the research points to a very specific reason for this disconnect. And here's the kicker. According to their data, a staggering 90% of these subconscious mental blocks, these invisible walls you keep crashing into, stem from one hidden issue. And that is a lack of self-worth. 90%. So it's not a lack of strategy. It's not that you don't have enough time, and it's definitely not a lack of effort. Fundamentally, this is an internal roadblock. We're really talking about why a sense of worthiness is the root of almost all our mental breaks.
So here is the crucial paradigm shift we need to make, understanding the difference between self-esteem and self-worth. Now, you likely thought self-esteem was the ultimate answer, right? Well, actually, scratch that. Self-esteem is conditional. It relies entirely on your achievements, your skills, or how well you conquer your fears. Self-worth, on the other hand, is unconditional. It is inherent, it is completely independent of any external success or failure whatsoever.
Let me put it this way. True self-worth isn't a running resume of your worldly accomplishments. It's the fundamental, unchanging frequency of your existence. It is this deep, unwavering inner belief that you deserve all of the universe's blessings simply because you exist. You don't have to earn it, you don't have to prove it to anyone. You just have to be.
Think about it like this. Building self-esteem is kind of like constructing a statue piece by piece. You know, you add a piece when you get a promotion, you stick another piece on when someone compliments you. But discovering self-worth, that's entirely different. It's like dusting off a pre-existing perfect masterpiece that's already hidden inside the stone. It was always there, you just had to clear away the debris to finally reveal it. The problem, of course, is all that debris. Society conditions us to tie our inherent value to these really fragile, false metrics. We're taught to measure our worth by our bank account balance, the number of followers we have, our physical beauty, or, how well we play the superhero for everyone else just to get a pat on the back. But what's the glaring issue with those metrics? Well, they are completely out of your direct control. So what happens when the foundation of your worth is basically built on shifting sand? When these external factors inevitably fluctuate, like when the market crashes, or an algorithm changes, or people withhold their approval, your entire sense of value collapses right along with them. It's an incredibly unstable way to live. Which brings us to the golden rule of this whole concept. The universe values you exactly as much as you value yourself from within. Your internal frequency dictates your external reality. So if you genuinely feel unworthy deep down, the universe is essentially just mirroring that lack of appreciation right back to you. And you can see this mirror effect playing out in daily life all the time. A lack of inner worth actively repels success. It acts as the ultimate mental break. You'll see symptoms like, say, a boss who never appreciates you, or your art and skills going completely unnoticed. Maybe your hard work yields zero financial reward. Your relationships lack mutual respect, or opportunities just seem constantly blocked. It literally makes navigating life exponentially harder. Section 1. Real results. The power of unconditional worth in action.
So what actually happens when you dismantle these breaks in the real world? Let's take Ollie as a case study. He went from being a firefighter to a successful lawyer, but he was facing these massive financial blocks where clients simply wouldn't pay him. Well, by addressing his own worth and dismantling those mental breaks, he saw a massive financial leap. Literally half of his uncollectible debts were paid in just 2 months. And on top of that, he and his wife finally welcomed a child after 10 years of trying. The external blocks just vanished once the internal ones were removed.
But listen, financial success doesn't just automatically fix the internal block. Look at Abbas's story. He actually managed to grow his income 100 times over, but he was severely depressed. This proves a really vital point when we analyze the role of worthiness in achieving our goals. Wealth without self-worth is totally unsustainable. For him, the success felt heavy and was beginning to collapse until he did the internal work to actually feel worthy of the success he built. Finding his worth brought the joy back. And this isn't just about money either. Yeganah's miraculous turnaround in her personal relationships really shows the broad application of this philosophy.
She went from suffering emotional breakdowns over minor conflicts to receiving multiple marriage proposals that perfectly matched her standards. Why? Simply because she finally genuinely deemed herself worthy of a healthy, respectful relationship.
Section 2. Self-knowledge. Assessing your inner worth to overcome obstacles.
To dismantle these barriers yourself, you have to realize the absolute importance of self-knowledge for overcoming obstacles. The framework suggests a pretty brutal, rapid-fire introspection exercise to see where your foundation truly lies. It breaks down into 5 core pillars, designed to just strip away your ego. Unconditional worthiness, valuing your own needs, external comparisons, perfectionism and guilt, and relationship dynamics. Let's look at a few of the hard questions you really need to ask yourself here. First, ask yourself honestly, is your self-worth entirely transactional? Like, when something good happens to you, is your immediate thought, okay, what did I do to earn this? If you believe that every single blessing in your life is conditional on your output or your behavior, you're operating from conditional self-esteem, not unconditional self-worth.
Next, think about your dependency on external validation. How much is your sense of happiness dictated by comparing yourself to others on social media? If your sense of peace constantly fluctuates based on where you stand relative to the curated highlight reels of strangers online, you've essentially handed away the keys to your self-worth.
And what about guilt? Really challenge yourself to look at your daily actions. Are they driven by a genuine desire to create, to connect, and to thrive? Or are you just exhausting yourself trying to be perfect to escape feelings of guilt towards your family, your friends, or your boss? Because if you're just living to avoid guilt, you are definitely not living in your own worth.
Thankfully, the source material lays out a very clear path forward once you've done this self-assessment. Step 1. Identify and recognize those hidden mental breaks. Step 2. Ruthlessly cut off the external noise and sever your dependency on outside validation. And Step 3. Cultivate and nurture that perfect pre-existing statue of worth within you. Just stop trying to build it and simply allow it to exist.
I want to leave you with a final, lingering thought to reflect upon as you navigate your own journey of self-discovery. If you woke up tomorrow and all your achievements, your bank accounts, and every single shred of external validation were completely stripped away, how much are you truly worth to yourself? Think about that for a while. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.